Today we are going to learn about the historical perspectives of plant tissue culture. The learning objectives are introduction of plant tissue culture, the journey of plant tissue culture, and the further research of plant tissue culture. Before we rewind the years and get stuck into the how and when of tissue culture, we should take a look of what tissue culture actually is. Tissue culture is the name given to the in vitro method of cultivating cells, organs and tissues with a nutrient solution in a stringent lab condition. Another name that refers to tissue culture may be sterile culture. It all begins in 1832 when a man by the name Theodor Schwann presented the idea that you can grow cells outside of the original host body as long as stringent external conditions are created. These external conditions would need to create a sterile environment for the tissue culture to develop. 3 years after, a man named Wilhelm Royce proved the theory in 1835. Royce successfully performed the culture of embryonic chicken cells by using salt solution as his media. Fast after 4 years, in 1839, another man by the name Richinger proposed the first parameter for this revolutionary method. According to Richinger's experiment, the tissue culture method would only be successful if the fragment has a minimum thickness of 1.5 mm. Any piece thinner than 1.5 mm could not be able to grow. Let us all first know the classical experiment on polarity of cutting. In 1878, vouching he had gone a classical experiment. Is it the polarity acts at a particular way for the plant to grow? This experiment makes us to question like this. Is it that we are going to put a small cutting upside down? Will it still form a root from the upper end part, or it will form a root from the lower end part? So we'll move for the experiment. 2 cuttings from the same plant was taken. One was placed in the way that in the normal polarity, that is, the cutting should face the soil as normal it were. But the other cutting was placed upside down. What was the actual observation? The root emerged from the lower cut end, irrespective of what the polarity was. So, this shows that in plants, the different functions are taken based on their convenience. That is, the fate map it may have already had. So, scientists thought of thinking perhaps to study the impact of the plant cell without the help of surrounding environment or soil. Although tissue culture has been around since beginning of 18th century, plant tissue culture only began developing in 1898. Gottlieb Heberlein, a German botanist, now we call him as a father of plant tissue culture. He was the first to isolate fully differentiated cells from the palisade tissue as well as epidermal hairs and tried to grow them in isolation. He observed the plant grow further, changed in the shape, thickening of cell wall occurs and appearance of starch in the chloroplast. But unfortunately, he didn't find any growth of the cell. So he tried his level best to isolate the cell, and he was able to sterile the cells and put them in an aseptic medium. Then how did he fail to get the growth of the plant? The reason for that was he was using highly differentiating cells. Number 2, the media he used was simple with a few salts. So only negligible nutrients reached the plant, which were not sufficient for that particular plant to develop. Number 3, there were no growth hormones present in the media. But Heberlein was intelligent. At that stage, he realized that something was missing, and later he understood that the growth hormone concept should support his research. Now, let's see further experiment of plant tissue culture. Over the years, many experiments used similar parameters in their experiments. The cells survived for a longer time, but they also failed in proliferation. The first root tip was cultured in 1922, and by making the use of subculture, maintained these cultures of roots for only 20 weeks. In 1913, it was recognized that B vitamin and auxins were the key component in growing root culture using the tissue culture method. Over the following century, many similar experiments were conducted, and the researchers began identifying the most important parameters that could be guiding the tissue culture process today. Whether you are in growing industry for the profit of the pleasure, the tissue culture method must be the best thing for the all budding scientist. In 1922, root cultures was another area of research that was pursued independently by Robertson from USA, Coty from Germany, who succeeded with growing isolated root tips. Thereafter, White in 1934 developed a media consisting of inorganic salts, extracts of yeast, and sugar. He was the first person who successfully reported the continuous growth of tomatoes root. This White's media was another breakthrough, that is, the synthetic media with most of the nutrients first developed. But still, they contain yeast extract, which was replaced by 3 vitamins, example pyridoxine, thiamine, and nicotinamide, by White himself in the year of 1937. Thereafter, Shree and his co-worker believed that apart from the nutrients for plants, they also require vitamins. They studied the plant growth, and the root shoot relationship extends above 12 years of study. Discovery of growth regulators as well as vitamins favored further growth in the area of tissue culture. Heberlein postulated that they are the growth enzymes which these days as we called as a growth regulators. So, with those discovery of IAA, Gothard was successful in growing cells of Salix and Populus nigra on SNOPS solution. And further, the growth of the Salix cambium was successfully made possible. Gothard in year 1939 established first continuously growing tissue culture from carrot root cambium. In the same year, White reported the establishment of growing culture from tumor tissues of the hybrid Nicotina glauca and Nicotina langstrothi. Gothard, White, and Abercrombie in the year 1939 reported the establishment of growth cultures of carrot. In the mid-1930s, it was mentioned that auxin is the natural growth regulator. Vitamin B was found to be the very important vitamin in plant tissue culture. Now, Scoop in the year 1944 and Tusi in the year 1951 reported that in tobacco pith tissue culture, the addition of adenine and high level of phosphate favored callus growth and bud formation even in the presence of IAA. We all know indole acetic acid is an auxin which is known to inhibit shoot formation. Jablonski and Scoop in the year 1954 observed that the division of the cell occurred only if the cambium tissue was present. Pith cell alone did not show any division at all. They found that cambium tissue are essential if we want the pith cells to divide. Scientists carried out further tests on the plant extract for substituting the requirement of vascular tissue, and they found that yeast extract was most effective chemical to enhance the growth of the growing tissue. They also established that the effective component of yeast extract was something common to purine. Now, here is the success of cell culture. Meyer in the year 1953 grew a single cell from the cell aggregate from shake culture. He growed the single cell in the liquid media and he developed a nurse culture technique. This technique consisted of callus suspension working in shaker bath. On the top of the suspension, filter paper has been placed so that exchange of single cell from the aggregate to the filter paper may takes place. Now this single cell can be isolated and introduced into the growth media to reform the callus. In 1960, Jones and his co-worker succeeded in growing single cell by using conditioned media. Conditioned media is a media in which tissue has to be grown for some time till the growth factor released by the growing tissue. Thereafter, Vassar and Hildebrand in the year 1965 raised the whole tobacco plant by replacing conditioned media with coconut milk. Skook and Miller in the year 1957 put forth the concept of hormonal control of organ formation. They also reported that differentiation of root and shoot in tobacco pith tissue culture was an interplay of auxin and cytokine ratio. They demonstrated that organ differentiation can be regulated by changing the relative concentration of the hormone. High auxin promoted rooting and high cytokine promoted shoot formation. Thereafter, in 1962, Skook and Murashi developed a complete media which was rich in organic and inorganic salt. They also contain iron salt, sugar and vitamin. This media is famously called as MS media. 80% of the plant tissue cultivars used this formulation. Some species like cereals and legumes do not respond favorable for cell culture and hence described as recalcitrant. These species does not respond to the tissue culture even in MS media. It was believed that the immature embryo or suitable explant for protoplasmic isolation in genetical manipulation. It was found by Sauder and Brightham in 1972. It was reported by them that alpha-alpha cultivars varied considerably for their generation potential, that is regeneration potential, which is genetically controlled and depends on the physiological state of the explant. Older the tissue is, more the recalcitrant it is. Plant tissue culture is now started its footstep in producing secondary metabolites. The technique of production of secondary metabolites established in the middle of 1950s for the production of natural plant products. The company Cipher in the year 1950-60 started a large-scale cultivation of plant cells. A special bioreactor was designed in such case the amount of light is sufficient for the particular cell to grow. Tulaki and Nickel in 1959 reported the use of 134 liters bioreactor for the production of secondary metabolites. Thereafter, Noguchi in 1977 used 20,000 liter reactor for culture of tobacco cell. However, Shikonen, the first commercial plant product that was being commercialized by Mitsui Co. from Lithospermum species. Ginseng cell mass produced by Nikoti Denko in the year of 1988. There is a problem for commercialization of secondary metabolite production. The plant cells were slow growing in bioreactor. They were genetically unstable because in the bioreactor, when the cells divide, they were not genetically uniform, which leads to the abnormality in the secondary metabolite. The other problem of the secondary metabolites are they are mostly accumulated in the intracellular region. So, extraction of the secondary metabolites from the intercellular region has become a major issue. Plant cell normally won't produce secondary metabolite. It will produce it when they are in stress. So, the quantification of analyzing the secondary metabolite was another issue. Pixon and Timan in the year 1958 demonstrated that lateral buds on growing shoot can be induced to grow on the medium containing cytokinin, thus overcoming apical dominance. Later, Bax and Huseman in 1970 developed somatic embryogenesis of carrot by using bioreactor and developed a lateral developed synthetic seed technology. For preserving the biodiversity of the regenerated cells and tissues, different methods were developed: short-term storage, medium-term storage, long-term storage. Long-term storage was under minus 196 degrees centigrade, and this process is called cryopreservation. Nack and Street in 1973 and Sebert in 1976 regenerated cryopreserved carrot cell. Thereafter, Shepard with his co-worker in 1971 reported morphological variation in sugarcane by Hawaiian Sugar Association and developed several disease-resistant varieties. That prompted the concept of somoclonal variation. Another area of research in the maximum pursuit is protoplasmic culture. We all know that plant has a rigid cell wall. If the cell wall is removed, the remaining is said to be the protoplasm. Klesker in 1892 was the first to isolate the protoplasm. Custer in 1909 was the first person to fuse with the set of the protoplasm, that is, he fused two sets of protoplasm of different species. Nagata and Takipi in 1971 studied the totipotency of isolated protoplasm. Cocking in the year 1960 isolated protoplasm from Myrotium species, that is fungus, by enzymatic method. Guha and Maheshwari in 1964 developed anthroculture technique for the production of haploid plant. This discovery started potential research in producing haploid plants. Kamaya and Hinata in 1970 first reported callus formation of Brassica species in isolated pollen culture. Nitsch in 1973 developed a haploid plant from isolated microspore culture of Nicotina and Datura. Scientists observed many of the plant with gall disease in their stem and root. Later, it was found to be said that it was a free-living soil bacteria, that is Agrobacterium species, which was responsible for this gall disease. Smith and Townsend in 1907 reported crown gall bacteria have tumorigenic character. Scientist Braun in 1947 discovered that this bacterium, that is Agrobacterium species, introduced a tumor-inducing substance integrated in the plant genome. Later, Zanin with his co-worker in the year 1974 identified that Ti plasmid, that is the Ti plasmid had tDNA segment that had the tumor-inducing substance. Tissue culture makes us to understand the plant morphogenesis and see how plant single cell can differentiate and perform specific function. This makes tissue culture studies and research an indispensable advancement and make many plant cultivars and happy growers. By making use of plant tissue culture process, growers are able to produce high quality plant in short time with little to no more disease or virus. Why plant tissue culture? One should go for the tissue culture process for the following reasons. Tissue culture raised plants are vigorous and fast growing and conventional plants. High degree of uniformity than the conventional produced plant. The tissue culture plantlets are free from disease, that is pathogens. It is possible to multiply plants that are difficult to propagate by cutting or other traditional methods. Tissue culture plant yield better as they are produced under optimum environment from selected mother plants. So, in this video, you would have all seen this discovery of plant tissue culture from the century ago till now. We all know the plant tissue culture is the heart of plant biotechnology. In the next video, we will learn the several methods of plant tissue culture techniques. Thank you.
Want to know more about these topics? Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe our channel.